Golden church domes, ancient buildings, numerous museums, architectural monuments and monuments to outstanding Ukrainians, an ancient capital and a modern metropolis, a city that combines the present and the past. Today we invite you to delve into the theatrical life of Kyiv, as you can call this city a theatrical capital with confidence, since almost 50 theaters located here. Therefore, we invite all theatrical art enthusiasts and everyone else to get acquainted with the theater life in Kyiv. Hello, my name is Anastasia and I'm from Kyiv. I'm glad to welcome you to my beloved city. I'm going to show you a slightly different Kyiv today, the theatrical Kyiv. A person who knows a lot about theatrical art of Kyiv, Alexei Shimanovsky, is going to help me in this escapade. Hello, my name is Anastasia, Alexei. I'm very pleased. I'm interested in the theatrical life of the city of Kyiv, and now we're near the Opera House, so I would like to hear the history and uniqueness of this particular building. This building is indeed very unique and valued by Kyiv residents. There used to be an opera theater here, but it burned down before this new building was erected. Generally speaking, the opera theater was a very important phenomenon for Kyiv. The third opera theater in the Russian Empire was in Kyiv, so it became an opera city. That was beneficial for the culture of Kyiv and had a generally positive effect on the Kyiv residents in terms of art. But then this theater caught on fire and burned to the ground. Naturally, it was a terrible disaster for Kyiv. The residents of Kyiv restored the opera building at their own expense. They received part of the money for the payment of insurance and raised the rest themselves. But there was still not enough money, which is why the Kyiv Opera Theater is slightly smaller than the one in Odessa. Then a project competition was launched, and the project of the architect Schroeder won as the most beautiful one. So the present opera theater was built according to his architectural blueprint. The talented architect took on the creation of the blueprint project with the utmost diligence. He took into account the fact that the new opera theater would be located in the historical center of Kyiv. Victor Schroeder made sure that the neo-Renaissance building would blend into the natural architectural landscape of the capital and would not be discordant with the surrounding buildings. To find out about the theater in more detail, it is definitely worth going inside. We will meet again near the theater on Prorizna Street. See you there. Okay, Kyiv has always been a highly cultured city and of course a city that could not do without theatrical life. Naturally, life was flourishing in Kyiv. Everything started at the beginning of the 19th century, and despite a certain degree of resistance from conservative circles, the theatrical life in Kyiv was rapidly developing. Famous actors performed here and famous directors created wonderful plays at the same time. Good day, my name is Anastasia. I've already heard about the architectural features of this building, but I would like you to tell me about the history and uniqueness of the Ukrainian Opera Theater. The official history of the Kyiv Opera Theater began in 1867. It was the first opera theater in the province. There were only permanent theaters in Moscow and St. Petersburg. It is officially considered that the theater opened its season with a play by the Russian playwright Alexei Verstovsky, but with the ancient Kyiv theme of Askol's grave, which took place on October 27, 1867. However, the first performance was Natalka Poltavka by Kotlяревsky. The feedback was extremely positive. The history of the opera theater started with grandeur, and all the tickets were sold out a half year in advance. The audience was waiting with bated breath. Such was the crescendo of the opera theater in Kyiv. The theater existed until 1896. During this time, several generations of performers had changed. The seasons were different. So now I invite you to join me and see the hall where all these events took place. We're in the auditorium of the National Opera Theater of Ukraine, which has changed somewhat in terms of the number of seats, although basically it remains exactly the same as it was on September 16, 1901. The gold, all this magnificent decoration and the decor impressed its patrons so much. The hall that organically combines pastel, red velvet and gold was recognized as aristocratic. Tell me please, how was it possible to keep all these details just like how they used to be? Was it thanks to the restorations? Of course, the first restoration concerned the completion of the main building, but during the reconstruction in the 80s, everything was done to return all the parts to their original appearance. This is all very important, and it's not just the decor, it is also part of the acoustics, as it granulates the sound and creates resonance. Despite the years that have passed since the restoration, the Opera Theatre can still impress with its interior elegance, solemnity and luxury. Why is it worth visiting the National Opera Theatre of Ukraine for guests of Kyiv, in your opinion? Well, first of all, to see all this beauty. It is truly one of the most beautiful buildings where you can get acquainted with the neo-Renaissance style. And this style contains almost every other style, so anyone can discover something new here. And music lovers will find opera and ballet, which we have plenty of.
Меломани, звичайно, знайдуть для себе і оперу, і балет в достатній кількості.
There are about 50 plays in their repertoire, which include academic and modern productions.
І академічні постановки, і сучасні присутні, і модерн. Останнім часом
People have been saying lately that opera is in trend, which is nice to hear since auditoriums are practically never empty.
і гості, і
There are guests of the capital and Kyiv residents who come to see a certain cast. And you know, it is important to mention that very powerful creative forces are at work here.
потужні творчі сили працюють.
Here, you will hear the wonderful voices of world stars with Ukrainian names. So this is where you can come to hear them, and for very little money too.
Тут, і, до речі, за
So we're inviting guests to the National Opera Theatre of Ukraine.
до Національної опери України.
Щиро дякую.
Thank you for this new and very interesting information. It was very nice talking with you, and we continue getting acquainted with the theatrical Kyiv. We're now near the building of the legendary Molody Theatre. It was founded by the outstanding Ukrainian director Les Kurbas. Moreover, it was created during the Civil War. It was incredible. The director and actors created a performance with blood, death, and all the natural elements. First of all, the theater was named Molody, or young, because the team was fairly young. Secondly, there were innovators. They were doing something incredible, as no one else dared to do it earlier. And they were successful because they were interesting to the audience.
І в них виходило, тобто вони були дуже цікаві публіці.
The theater only existed for 2 years, but it became a source, a great achievement of the Ukrainian drama scene, which opened up the way for many famous performers. In 1979, the Soviet government decided that the Molody Theatre was essential and issued a directive to form it. The new theater was named the Molodizhny Theatre.
Молодіжний. Але через кілька років зусиллями
Several years later, thanks to the efforts of the director of the theater, Les Tilnuk, the theater was given the building of the former theater of Les Kurbas, and it stands there to this very day.
де знаходився Курбасівський молодий театр. І далі він тут і знаходиться.
Kyiv theaters are very diverse, so they can satisfy both the interest of amateur music enthusiasts and the refined taste of avid theatergoers. Most of the theaters are located in the very center of Kyiv. The Lesya Ukrainka National Academic Theatre of Russian Drama is located not far from the Molody Theatre. The plays of this theatre have been very successful from the point of view of theatrical art connoisseurs for many years now. This is where the Lesya Ukrainka Theatre is located. However, this is the building of the former Bergonier Theatre. The theater was named after its founder, the French entrepreneur Augustus Bergonier, who built this building specifically to open some kind of cultural institution here. He was a businessman and wanted to make money.
Заклад культури. І він був бізнесменом, він хотів заробляти гроші. За історію цього
Historians say that they also showed movies here and many artists worked here. Troops from other theaters came here to perform their plays. The Solovtsov troupe also worked here, which later organized construction of a new theater, which today is known as the Ivan Franko Theater. Among other things, such outstanding directors as Zakharov and Kurbas, who were considered masters of the Ukrainian stage, worked here. Among actors, Marko Kropivnitsky is worth mentioning. In the 1920s, the former troupe of the Solovtsov Theater was transferred here. They performed plays in Russian and basically created what is now the Lesya Ukrainka Theater. And today we will visit the Ivan Franko Theater. What do you think of the theatrical Kyiv? I'm actually very impressed with our capital, the large number of diverse theaters and its culture as a whole.
Різнопланових театрів і взагалі своєю культурою.
I'm truly amazed that so many cultural and theatrical figures lived in our city.
Так багато культурних.
They lived and created all this history right here.
Усю цю історію саме тут.
Well, then I will tell you the history of the famous Ivan Franko Theater. Actually, this theater was not always located here. This theater was initially called the Solovtsov Theater. Solovtsov was a famous actor and entrepreneur.
Соловцов був знаменитим актором і
He was famous and very popular in Kyiv, and it was he who managed to persuade the Kyiv authorities to build a large, beautiful theater here.
Саме йому вдалося вмовити київську владу побудувати тут великий, красивий театр.
Я думаю, що ми
We should come inside the theater to find out more about its history.
Тож давайте завітаємо. Доброго дня.
Hello, greetings. I'm glad to welcome you to the National Ivan Franko Theater. What is your name? My name is Anastasia. Nice to meet you. We love it when our viewers come to our theater because it is a special theater, not only because it's the first stage in Ukraine, as we call it. We divide the history of the Franko Theater.
В репертуарному стаціонарному театрі ми впроваджуємо ідею, що театр є відкритим.
Now, just like in any other repertoire theater, we're introducing the concept of an open democratic theater, and we offer many plays and performances ranging from psychological dramas to musicals. That is, we welcome everyone to come here and see one or another play depending on their preferences. I should also add that a theater is not just the actors that you see on the stage.
Ці актори, яких ви бачите, значить, на сцені.
The theater is a large organism. We employ almost 600 people. We have the best sewing and prop shops, everything you can see on stage. Any era and all the costumes and props are made by our artists.
Візитерські, бутафорські, все, що ви бачите на сцені.
Artists of the Ivan Franko Theater are capable of creating a wonderful show that will always attract a large audience.
Твориться, все робиться руцями митців, тому що це теж митці, але вони творять руками. Художники театру Франка спроможні на дивовижні речі.
Since 1927, the Ivan Franko Theater has been located at 3 Franko Square. Every day and every evening, we work for the public. After all, theater is an art that only exists for the people. It only begins when a viewer comes to the auditorium, the curtain opens and an actor enters the stage. Herein is the mystery and essence of the theater.
Розсувається завіса, актор виходить на сцену. І так починається таїнство.
We all love you and are waiting for you because the Ivan Franko Theater always loves and looks forward to its viewers. We hope to see you soon.
Своїх глядачів.
I'm very grateful to you for this very interesting conversation. The history of the theater is very interesting and colorful, and we will continue becoming acquainted with theatrical Kyiv. So what do you think of the theatrical Kyiv? I really admire what I saw, and today I looked at Kyiv from a different perspective. I learned about a lot of interesting new facts and got a more sensuous feeling of my native Kyiv. So anyone who wants to come here, it is really worth a visit. Come here and experience your native Kyiv from your own feelings and perspective. And that's the reality. So we, the residents of Kyiv, will gladly show everything we can to our guests. Thank you for today's meeting. It was very interesting. So see you the next time. I look forward to our next meeting. Travel around Ukraine, discover new cities, and tell the whole world about them. Let every trip be a wonderful and unforgettable experience.